Hey folks, it's Matt once again. Welcome back to another review for another Kevin Smith film, and that is Clerks II, which I really enjoy. And honestly, I would say it's his last great film. Last good film, honestly. And this review says it best. Clerks II has a dirty mind, but its heart is pure. From the New York Times. I agree. I thought it was a worthy sequel. This came out in 2006, and honestly, Kevin Smith has not made a good film in 10 years. That's just my opinion. Because everything after this I did not like. Jersey Girl wasn't the biggest fan of. This was a big step up from that. I know around this time there was talks of him maybe doing The Green Hornet, but he's like, well, I don't want to do that because it'll be a big budget film. I won't have much creative control. I'm not interested in doing action scenes, which makes sense when you see other films where his attempts at action. He just wanted to revisit these characters. Jeff Anderson was the guy, aka who played Randal. He's the guy's like, I don't know. Do you really want to drag up these characters? And, will people laugh at us because we're older, we're fatter, will people be like, oh, well, your shtick doesn't fly anymore? He was sort of the guy, I'm not sure, but ultimately he was convinced. And this film, honestly, if he wanted to end his career on this, it would have worked out fine. Perfect bookend. Clerks the beginning, Clerks 2, the end. Now there's toss of a Clerks 3, and honestly, with how he does stuff nowadays, I mean, he seems like a nice guy. He really does, personally. So I'm not talking personal-wise. I'm talking about filmmaking, writing, career-wise. It's really crappy. I mean, just the other day on YouTube, there was Jay and Silent Bob's Groovy cartoon, which is like an hour-long movie. And I saw that. I'm not going to review it, but I saw that it was on YouTube. It was like an hour and 3 minutes long. And it's nothing to do with the Clerks cartoon that I talked about. It was a Jay and Silent Bob, Bluntman and Chronic cartoon movie. And that was absolutely shit. And Kevin Smith wrote that. And I'm like, this is fucking unfunny and just shitty animation. I think it cost like $70,000, so I guess that's why. But still, it was just a lame movie, a lame script. I don't think he has it in him anymore, the writing. Smoking weed, waiting bait, smoking weed some more, thinking, oh, I smoked this weed. Here's a cool idea. Let me do that. Moose Jaws. So we get a lot of people saying a boot and a Strange Brew was a long fucking time ago. You don't have to do Strange Brew again and again and again. Canadian type. Anyway, sorry. It's just, I look at what he accomplished here, which is very funny, very entertaining, well written, and has a good heart to it. It has an ending that really made me smile, and also sad because, like, Kevin Smith has it in him. I know at times he's the type of guy who's like, oh, I'm not much of a director, and I'm this and that, and puts himself down, like kidding-wise when he talks in public. But I'm like, he has it in him, because I've seen it in this. This is a good film, not just a good Clerks sequel. I mean, opening in black and white, and Dante opening the store, and then the fire is in color, and then boom, we're in color. That's a good idea, filmmaking-wise. Some people would not have thought of that. Some people would have just been, just open in color and who cares. But he thought of going black and white because Clerks was in black and white. And then at the end, it's in color. Then as they're in the store, and that great song Misery by Soul Asylum, which had a song in the first Clerks film. Here's a new song from Soul Asylum. Ended with that, fading to black and white as they now own the Quick Stop store. That's a filmmaking thing. And it seems like he has passion making these films. So who knows, maybe when Mallrats 2 and Clerks 3 come out, maybe he actually has something to say in passion. But I'm not holding my breath because he also thought he had something to say in Red State, and that movie is a piece of shit. Cop Out is a piece of shit. Zack and Mary I don't care for. And now at the end of that, after this, because it's going to be Tusk, I don't even want to see again. I've seen that once was enough. And I'm not going out of my way to rent it again because I've seen it once. I reviewed it once. But all that said, it was great bringing these characters back. Rosario Dawson fit in fine. She wasn't out of the way. She does a really good job. She fits in the world very well. Brownhauer and Jeff Anderson, they do a great job playing Dante and Randal again. This is when Jason Mewes really got sober, and Jay and Silent Bob, they're really good. Has a nice nod to Silence of the Lambs, where he does the tusk, he goes, "Goodbye, horses," where he's like naked top to bottom, but he tucked it back, so it looks like it's the Buffalo Bill scene in Silence of the Lambs. If you've seen that, you know what scene I'm talking about, that Ted Levine had done. Jay does the same thing, singing "Goodbye, horses." There's a new guy, Trevor Fehrman, who was in a movie that Jeff Anderson directed, which I haven't seen. But Jeff Anderson had directed a movie before this and starred in with this guy, Trevor Fehrman. I think Kevin Smith has a cameo. I forget the name of the movie. Someone mentioned it to me. He's like, "Hey, why don't you check this out?" And I'm like, well, I don't have the movie, and I don't really, the money that I have, I want to save it for stuff coming out that I want to pick up. So I'm kind of very cheap with my money. But Kevin Smith saw that and got that guy for this, and he plays a guy, Elias, I believe is the character's name, who's like a big Transformers fan. And this is before the first Transformer movies come out. So he's like, "Oh, the new Transformers, they've announced it." And Jeff Anderson's making fun of Transformers. You have cameo appearances. Ben Affleck makes a little cameo appearance. Jason Lee has a small role. Nice to see them in there. The whole setup is that the store burns down, the Quit Stop store at the beginning of the film, and it's about a year later. At this point, these two are working at a fast food restaurant called Mewes, which was referenced in Dogma, as well as Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. And they're working there. Dante's friendly with the manager, Rosario Dawson. But Dante is with this girl, Jennifer Schwalbach, who is Kevin Smith's wife in real life. They're going to get married and move down to Florida. This is his last day. Jay and Silent Bob, they hang around in the Mewes restaurant. Jay's drinking. "You get the fuck out of here!" Giving dialogue about how he wishes he would have done more with his life, like become an astronaut and find an alien and be the first to fuck it. And then Ethan Suplee, who is in Mallrats, he makes an appearance when Jay pulls out a Bible, and even he's like, "Is that a fucking Bible?" And it's just a lot of fun. It's pretty much like Clerks, but put into the restaurant instead of Quit Stop. The fast food place, I should say. Some nice references, like when Jennifer Schwalbach is with Dante, she says, "Face it tighter, you hit the jackpot." That's a reference to Mary Jane Watson saying that in Spider-Man. Helen Keller versus Anne Frank, not knowing the difference between the two. Jeff Anderson giving shit to the other guy, Elias. He's not on the back here. When he just dropped up by his parents, and Randall's like, "What is she, your fucking prom date?" And just stole the timestamp right when he's talking to the guy. And even Randall and Jay start fucking with Elias, and Randall talking about how Transformers sucks. And Randall getting a conversation about ass to mouth, and Dante's like, "You never go ass to mouth." I'm doing a shitty job explaining it, but it's hard to... I've realized it's hard to review comedies. Like, what makes it funny? Do I just redo the line? I would show clips, but I'd get copyright trouble. That's where Jay does the "Goodbye Horses." That was pretty funny. The Lord of the Rings talk, which I remember was from An Evening with Kevin Smith, I believe the second one he did, where Kevin Smith was talking about Lord of the Rings, and he just put that into the movie, where you have a customer in Elias being big Lord of the Rings fans, and Jeff Anderson's Randal's like, there's only one trilogy. It's not of the King, it's of the Jedi. And pretty much they talking shit about Star Wars and Jar Jar, and my acting is ruining Saga. While Jeff is talking about those Lord of the Rings, all it is just walking. Even the trees fucking walked in those movies. Here's the first one, walking. Here's the second one. Here's the third one. Then walks away. That was a really funny scene. Especially considering I'm sorry, I'm not a Lord of the Rings fan. So I kind of understood Randall's point. I think after that is the scene where you see the tuck, because before he was like, ooh, Jay's like, ooh, goodbye, horse. He starts singing. Like, what's the deal with that? And this is the reveal where he's doing the tuck. You have that great scene where Randall's talking with Elias, well, what about your girlfriend? How come you haven't done anything? And Elias brings up, well, I can't because she has pillow pants. It's her pussy troll, Randall. And it's such a great scene because Randall he's shocked and he has nothing to say. And the way they did the lighting and the music, they have the music straight out of The Shining. Like, ba 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 ba, like that Shining music that you heard at the beginning of the Shining movie. So that was really fun. That made the scene funnier, hearing that music. This guy, Elias, believing this so stupid thing, but he actually believes in it. And then Randall's about to come out tell Dante what he heard, but then there's Jason Lee. And pretty much like Randall, Jeff Anderson versus Jason Lee, so that was a fun scene. And pretty much Jason Lee talking about how, you guys are this old, but here you are still flipping burgers, and I'm an internet millionaire, and no matter what you say, I'm living the good life. Of course, that pisses Jeff Anderson off. He wants to go off work and ride the go-karts, and Dante follows him. And that sort of gets into the heart of it, where here they are in their life. It's sort of saying that it's okay to do this. It's okay to just be with a friend, work, this regular job, and not have to climb and stab people up the corporate ladder, but, just being this kind of existence, it's okay. Because I have a friend and I can chat and we can... It's almost as if Kevin Smith is saying, you know what, it's okay to just make these kind of movies instead of The Green Hornet, instead of these big budget movies. But then what's weird is, to me, I swear that's what Kevin Smith, he feels comfortable. I think Kevin Smith, honestly, at the end of the day, I think he just wants to make these movies, these View Askew movies. I really do. I feel that he felt a lot of people were probably pressuring him, no, stop doing these kind of movies, stop doing these kind of films. I remember at one point saying he'd be happy just to make these kind of movies forever, but apparently he's got to grow. I think if Kevin Smith had no outside interference, he would have just made these kind of movies, but whether it's his wife, all the people around him, people saying you should do this, do that, he kind of disregarded his own message. He didn't follow his own message at the end of this movie. Because he went on to try to do a Judd Apatow movie with Seth Rogen, and it didn't work, I'm sorry. An action comedy with Bruce Willis, it didn't work, I'm sorry. He's trying to do horror films like Red State. I'm sorry, I don't think it worked. I thought it was shitty. Horror was a little bit of weird humor. Tusk, it doesn't work. Yoga hosers. He's trying to do all this different stuff, and it's like, listen to what you wrote in this film. Listen to what your characters are saying. It's like, Kevin, you're trying to be Dante moving to Florida. Even Randal says at one point, she doesn't even like you for who you are. You think you have this image where you have to be what everyone tells you to be. What everyone expects you to be. But what's wrong with saying who you are? With being who you are? Which I thought was kind of a cool message, because most times it's like, you gotta be a millionaire, you gotta be the successful lawyer. It's like, no, I mean, the world is a lot... There's a lot more to the world than that. You know, there's gotta be, you know, blue-collar folks as well. And, you know, as long as you have a woman who loves you for who you are, which Dante finds in Rosario Dawson, and a guy you can hang out with, Randal, and what's wrong with that? But it's like, Kevin is not even following the advice that he wrote in this movie. I don't get it, you know. But anyway, it cuts to Rosario Dawson teaching Dante how to dance, and you have this to the Jackson 5 song ABC. And this I thought you didn't need. I mean, I thought it was fine with her teaching him how to dance on the roof, but then you get like all these people dancing synchronized outside movies, and that's one thing I'm like, did you really need that? Did you really need a big dance number? I think it's just fine when it's just Rosario teaching Dante how to dance. I don't think you needed the... But I mean, it's not horrible. And it was fine. I think I was fine when it's like Randal doing the move he did in the first Clerks film, and Elias dancing, and Jay and Silent Bob dancing. That's fine. It's just when it comes to the shot where there's like 50 customers, you know, doing this outside, I'm like, okay, that I thought was a bit too much. That part of it. But that's just me. That little part. That little bit. But that's a nitpick. Pretty much Rosario mentions that she's pregnant, and Dante's a bit freaked out about it. I like the bit when Jason Mewes is trying to take a piss, and he keeps getting hit by the door. These people keep coming out. And Jeff Anderson's like, how the hell do you do this again? You know, in the first film, you had 2 girls, now you got 2 girls as well. You're the most hideous fucking chud. And yet you have 2 girls fighting over you. I like the fact that you have Chud in there, because I'm a fan of the movie Chud. You're the most hideous fucking chud, and yet you have 2 girls fighting over you again. And ultimately, she finds out that Dante told Randal, and like Randal's following Dante, and the Elias guy says, Randal ate the last pickles, and as Randal goes by, he just goes, you fucking snitch. And immediately, oh, I'm sorry, Dante. I'm sorry, Randal, I'm sorry. It sounds a lot better than I'm making it out to be. And then you have a nice little montage to Smashing Pumpkins. I think it's 1979. And Dante's driving. Randal's in the restaurant closing down. Rosario Dawson's wondering what she's going to do with the baby. Dante stops at a light and sees this cute kid. Very cute. And it's actually Kevin Smith's daughter. Very cute kid, waves to him and he waves back. Because I'm like, okay, these guys entering fatherhood. I thought it was a nice story. Again, it has a good heart to it. And then Randal had pretty much, he knows this is Dante's last day. He hired a donkey show, but there's some miscommunication, or misunderstanding, I should say. So there is no woman. It's actually a guy with a donkey. And then the cops arrive, and Rosario Dawson arrives, and she kisses Dante, and then the girlfriend arrives and throws cake at Dante's face, and that's when the cops arrive and they all get arrested. Well, all except Rosario. And there's nice, heartfelt talk in the jail cell. Even Randal's like, this is the kind of life everything goes after? What, you're a fucking drone? And Dante's like, well, what the fuck, what the fuck would you do? And Randal says, I would get the quit stop and reopen it myself. And that's what we should do. And Jay and Silent Bob have the money, because the Jay and Silent Bob strike back. And they decide to open it up, fix it, rebuild it. Dante goes after Brown O'Halloran. And you just have a perfect ending. Even Randal does a jokingly, and you're not even supposed to be here today. About how today's the first day of the rest of our lives. And they rebuilt the convenience and video store. And it goes from color to black and white. You have the song Misery from Soul Asylum. I thought that was the perfect ending. Perfect way to end it. I thought it was had a good heart to it. A lot of very funny moments, some fun pop culture references, as well as some funny dialogue about relationships or status in life, and to do what you're expected to do, but then what about also what you can be happy with? And again, it almost feels like Kevin Smith was writing this. He's like, you know what? I don't want to make Green Hornet movies. I don't want to. Again, that was the job he was offered. I don't want to do this stuff. I want to do this stuff. But then he did, because just like Dante's going to move to Florida and have this better life. But then even Randal says again, what's the kind of life everyone goes after? That everyone goes after? What, are you fucking drone? And then he sort of disregarded the message in this. I think that's a message that a lot of people can relate to and enjoy, and makes you feel good. Again, that's why I think this quote works very well. But now he's like, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to go after the Judd Apatow money. And because it didn't make a lot of money, he was depressed and like smoked weed for a month. And I'm like, you disregard the message in this. I'm like, it's almost as if he doesn't understand the whole message he wrote in this movie. Or he neglected it, or he disregarded it. Again, I don't mean anything personal to Kevin Smith. He seems like a very nice guy. I'm just talking about career-wise. If you watch this film again, it's like he neglected his own message that he gave his characters. I mean, even Jay and Silent Bob was sober with no drugs, but Kevin Smith smokes weed every day, wake and bake. And that's what I think disappoints me the most about Kevin Smith, career-wise, not personal-wise. I keep stressing that. I've seen interviews and stuff. He seems like a very nice guy, a guy you'd go up to and talk with. I'm talking about career-wise. That I just don't get it. I don't know, maybe he thinks this is the best movie he could ever do, and then, or whatever. I don't know what the deal is. But this shows what the guy's capable of, and this is a damn good movie. It's a fun comedy, has a good heart to it. Great set of characters. And has an ending that made me feel something. And to me, this is the perfect ending to Kevin Smith's career. Because he has not done anything worth a shit in the past 10 years. This was his last good film. And this was a worthy sequel. Really enjoy it. It's definitely one of my favorites of Kevin Smith's. Either way, thanks for watching. Take care. And we'll see you later. Bye-bye.